Y'all already know what's going on, man. We are here in the building, the Attitude Era podcast, DNA, King HP, Archie Carter, presenting y'all with a new series called Double Up, where we take a wrestler that was on both brands during the Attitude Era. So, for example, y'all see episode 1 is Scott Hall versus Razor Ramon because Scott Hall was on WCW and WWF, which is now WWE at the time during the Monday Night War. He was actually the guy that set it off when he went over there. So we'll be doing this with multiple wrestlers that was on both promotions during the Attitude Era, during the Monday Night Wars, and we're gonna have pros and cons, and then we're gonna come to a decision which character was better. And we're gonna hang their jersey in the Raptors or whatever promotion that is. So we're gonna kick things off with Razor was before Scott Hall, so Archie, King HP, you got a minute on the pros about the Razor Ramon character. Let's hear it.
All right. So time, we're gonna jump right in. Right, Razor Ramon. He's WWE's first four-time Intercontinental Champion. Might not mean much now, but at that time, he was the first. He was the guy. He either wore the gold or he was chasing the gold. Right. We have two epic ladder matches with Razor Ramon. We have the WrestleMania 10 with Shawn Michaels, and then we have the rematch at SummerSlam 95 with Shawn Michaels. And again, these things are just top tier, right? Go check both of those. Another thing I like is just his whole character of say hello to the bad guy, which we'll see later down the road when he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Good times don't last, but bad guys do. And I feel like it's more of a reference to his Razor Ramon character and how he just used to hit people on with the toothpick. And last but not least, the curtain call. Super big, 59 seconds, bomb.
Man, first of all, I'm impressed with your knowledge. Second of all, you kept it at a minute. I'm amazed.
I am.
Shout out to HP. I never thought he'd be able to get to the point in a minute. I'll kick it off next, Archie. Let me know when you're ready.
All right, and go.
Well, first off, I'll say King HP said a lot of things, but my main thing, aside from all those other things, are the vignettes. The vignettes that he started doing, I think, when the test of time in wrestling were used over, he kind of was a trendsetter with that. And the character was so heavy that you even see Razor Ramon in Scott Hall. Like, he couldn't shake that. Even when he went to WCW, the first thing you hear is, hey, yo. So he really was just, toothpick was still there. He couldn't shake the character. Then later on, you even see Carlito, doing the same thing with the character. The pros over Scott Hall's, I think he was more respected, even though he didn't have a heavyweight title like King HP said. He had 4 intercontinental runs. He had bigger matches. I feel the Scott Hall character was dynamic for NWO, but it really didn't have its own solo run, and I feel like Razor Ramon had that over Scott Hall.
With 5 seconds left. Boy, good. Boy,
Yes,
good. All right, somebody put me on the clock and I get to it.
Got you. As soon as that first word go.
Right.
Razor Ramon was, is, and will always be the coolest wrestler gimmick persona ever. Razor Ramon, everybody embraced him. He was walking around Miami in the 80s, 90s when you couldn't just walk around Miami, like DNA said with the vignettes. He was the epitome of cool. He had me throwing toothpicks at people. I wasn't supposed to even be doing that. But I think that cool factor is an impact that lasted so long. And like you said, we did see it in Scott Hall too. He was embraced by black people, white people, brown people, hip hop. Rappers love Razor Ramon. The oozing machismo thing. Like, he just was a cool character and guy in the ring. He can go. He was one of the big men, but in the ring, like I said, he had the goal. He go around my neck, go around my fingers, go around my waist. And to tag along DNA point, when he got to WCW, he was just as cool. I think he was so cool that it didn't matter if he won the big one or not, but he didn't. So that could be one of the cons. But coolest character ever.
Bang. Bang.
Now let's go with the cons for Razor Ramon, man. We'll start with HP. You loaded, Arch?
And go.
So I feel like with Razor, obviously never won the big one, right? They never put a world title on him as far as, the WWE championship. Secondly, I think a little known thing is whether you say he had two great ladder matches or you're crediting them to the other person being Shawn Michaels. Is he had two ladder matches. He won the first one, and yet Shawn became more known for the ladder match. So I think in these instances, he didn't make his mark per se with the match as much as his opponent did. Another thing was the curtain call. You did something tremendous like that, but you knew the impact it would have, but it was negative to your counterpart, and you knew that, and you knew that was not supposed to happen within the business. So I got to put a knock on him for that, because if you would have did that when you was hot in '95 per se or '94, I would have gave him much more credit. Like, oh man, that's crazy.
Minute.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Archie put me on HP is crazy. Wait, go ahead. Let me know when you're ready. Yeah.
All right, go.
I mean, my only con that I have on the character is the run. I feel like the run should have been longer. It wasn't. It was cut short. I feel like we got Razor Ramon at the early '90s, and after '96 for the rest of his wrestling career, it was Scott Hall. We never got to see. Like, I feel like Razor Ramon was building, and we never just got to see that high point. It was like a character that the WWE spent a lot of time investing in. Scott Hall put a lot of effort in, but he just never reached the pinnacle, like the peak. I feel like the ceiling was hot. The ceiling was cut too short. Like, his ceiling shouldn't have been the Intercontinental title. He should have had a belt on him. And for that, I feel like just the character not having the run that it should have had. That's like only one con, but the biggest one, that it just didn't serve the character as just due.
10 seconds to spare. For good. The professionals in the building, everybody. Y'all got me?
I got you.
All right. Pretty much everything DNA said. The ceiling was a ceiling, and we saw it. But it's like when you're rooting for somebody like that, you want to see them win. You want to see them do good. It's just we never got to see it. And when he went over to from Razor to Scott Hall, it was kind of a ceiling there too, because he was always attached to Nash. He was always attached to the Outsiders. He was always attached to NWO. Like, he never got he was a Wu-Tang member, but never got his solo album. It's like he never was able to get that, even though he had big moments. The ladder match is a big moment. 1, 2, 3 Kid is a big moment. Curtain Call is a big moment. The vignettes, he had these moments, but he never had his moment to where we can say, all right, he got that. He deserved it. He earned it, because he was always attached to something. So I think that was one of the biggest cons with the character in his career.
So there you have it, man. That's the pros and cons to the Razor Ramon character. Now we're gonna jump into the pros and cons of the Scott Hall character. Just to switch things up, I'll set it off.
All right, hold on. Let me get you right and go.
Scott Hall. One of the main pros of him is just he basically set it off for the Monday Night Wars that goes in the history books. It actually just came up on like the 28-year anniversary since he went on Nitro and said, you know why I'm here. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. Literally, that is one of the biggest waves in wrestling history of creating the NWO. That is such a big pro that holds so much weight, that he was such the pivotal piece in it, because he is the first member of the NWO you've seen that then brought in Kevin Nash, that then brought in Hulk Hogan, and created, in my opinion, the greatest faction in wrestling history. So off that alone, Scott Hall is like goated just for being a part of that. His character, even though he was the wingman, he definitely facilitated a lot of great moments in the NWO and in WCW's history. And he also, to add to the character, he also is the reason why Sting turned into the Crow Sting. So Scott Hall, even behind the scenes, put in some work. So yeah.
I got you. All right. You want me to go switch it up, Jerry?
Yeah.
All
right.
All right, you ready? Okay, Scott Hall. Any man that could make a jean vest and no shirt look good, you got to root for him. He said the big man and the medium-sized man. Again, he was cool. Like, he was just cool. We had the Superman curl. It was just a visual like we didn't see. Yeah, it was a lot going on, but he was just a cool dude. He come in, he made the mark. You know who I am? You don't know why I'm here. NWO goes on. The survey says another one for the bandanas. Like he was just so cool. Like the coolness factor he could not escape. So both characters to me were equally cool. And me seeing this as a kid, I was like, man, I was in awe. He's one of the people you saw and the personality and the charisma. Like he said, he oozed machismo, and he really did ooze machismo. Like you can't deny the cool factor. And I think that's one of the biggest things about the character, both characters, Scott Hall and Razor Ramon.
Time.
All right,
load
Jerry,
up.
you ready?
Yeah, I got it. I'm good. Okay, so we already said that you know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. That's just as iconic as Austin's 316. Another one that he just made iconic, and I feel like it was more so when the Scott Hall WCW run, was just grabbing the mic and, hey, yo, and it just stops anything, whether it was a match or whatever. Speaking of matches, you know, him getting the Halloween Havoc win with Nash over the Harlem Heat, top tier tag team, one of the greatest tag teams ever. Now it puts them in the outsiders in that position of, you know, these are one of the greats. They also have victories over Luger and the Giant at the Super Brawl. They another thing is he is super instrumental in the stopping of the streak, because he is the one that actually tases Goldberg, you know, and that turns that's a huge turn in the history of WCW and what goes on there.
Minute. Good. All right. Get into the cons of Scott Hall. You ready, DNA?
Let me go. And it's crazy. Rest in peace to the legend Scott Hall. But I always got one con, and I just feel like it carries over there. And I feel like it was what was going on in his real life. I feel like the Scott Hall character that translated way more over than with Razor Ramon. With Razor Ramon, we really didn't get to see that affect that character. But with Scott Hall, even the angle they were taking with the substance abuse, it just started, you know what I mean? It just took away from all the good things that was happening to where it left a stain on him. Even in the last run with WWE after WrestleMania with his match with Stone Cold, that was underwhelming. Then he had to leave due to those issues, and the character got the run cut short too, which is why NWO wasn't able to have a longer run in WWE when they came back in 2002. So they broke up the faction, and then they started having random members. But yeah, just basically his outside life, I feel like, also hindered the character and stopped it from reaching the ceiling, and it affected it more than Razor, in my opinion.
Gotcha. All right. Ready?
I'm ready.
Pretty much the same thing. I mentioned earlier how I said him being attached to such big moments and such big things and other people. He never got his own big moments and own big things. And unfortunately, like DNA said, we got to see some of his real life, which wasn't the best moments. But what I do say is, towards the end, what we did see, we saw him trying to be a better person, trying to fight his demons. We did see how he was working towards it. So that he kind of turned it. And like I said, the speech at the Hall of Fame is legendary. Tough times don't last. Good, whatever, y'all know what he said. I don't want to say it wrong, but bad guys do. Right. And he was the bad guy, but he was the good bad guy. And if you say you never walked out the bathroom or the hallway and did this, you're lying. Scott Hall was that guy. Razor Ramon was that guy. We gonna vote for HP. We about to take it to you. See what you got. You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna try to stay away from where you guys just went, but I do feel like him not. I don't know how much creative control he had with his contracts or not, but him not getting a world title run, because at this point when he came back and he was the initial guy who started NWO. Even though you did have Hogan, even though you did have Nash, I would have liked to seen him win a world title, and that would have completed that trifecta of original members where you should say they are goated. Each one of them held down, you know, that would have been remarkable in my book. Two, I felt like the taser thing with Goldberg was a little bit weird. I thought it was weird at the time. I don't think it was bad at the time. I just thought it was weird because it was like, I want to see Scott Hall like lay somebody out. This is Scott Hall. So again, it was a good idea, him playing security. But again, going back to his most notable things are his tag matches in WCW. And he's an outstanding singles wrestler that can go with, he can actually wrestle and hold matches. He has a great move set, but I feel like it wasn't put to the forefront.
All right.
It was in his time.
Gave you a few extra. I didn't want to cut you off mid-sentence.
Yeah.
So we got the pros, we got the cons.
Let's go with the decision, man. It's an open discussion. What character do you think is better, HP?
As far as in ring, his legacy as Razor Ramon stands alone. It was so. The only weird thing I had that was a knock that I didn't get to get out was he didn't come back to WWE as Razor Ramon. They actually did an impersonator, which was weird. But he came back as Scott Hall. So I gotta say Razor was so iconic. Maybe they just didn't want to touch that character no more. And I feel like that. But when it comes to mic work, his Scott Hall mic work is so crazy. I'm gonna say Scott Hall is my he revolutionized wrestling. He really did. Him walking out, I don't remember what match was on, but he ended that match. And he just, with the mic, with the jean jacket, it's just too iconic. Razor was great. Scott Hall is like God tier.
Scott Hall, Archie, who you going with?
Razor Ramon was so valuable that, like you said, they brought in an imposter. That shows you the value the character had. But you know why it didn't work? Dude wasn't cool. He was not Scott Hall. Scott Hall was that guy. WCW run, I loved it. I love the NWO. I love what they did. I love what they stand for. It's attached to a part of my childhood, which is attached to me. But I gotta go Razor Ramon for the simple fact that was his solo body of work. His achievements were great. Winning a title that many times might not have been the big one, but he's a Hall of Famer for a reason. In work, mic ring. I'm just going with the bad guy, Razor Ramon.
I mean,
if I had a toothpick, I would have flicked it right there.
But look,
DNA, the decision's going on you. Are we hanging Scott Hall's jersey in the rafter? Or are we hanging Razor Ramon's jersey in the rafter for the first ever double up? DNA is on you.
Oh man, the pressure is here. No, so listen, right? I love the Scott Hall character, but if we just going off of characters that define you, and it's like, is it all put on the line? Let's remember, Scott Hall was put into the WWE Hall of Fame for the Razor Ramon character, not the Scott Hall one. And the work that was being put in, like you said, he had a tag team run with the Outsiders and NWO, but that was short-lived. The main run, the one where everybody goes, this is that guy, when they're printing out T-shirts, where they're buying tickets, even though the mic work was great and he contributed to NWO's greatness, but his own legacy is Razor Ramon. And let's just be honest, though, that match with Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania is what stamped how important that Intercontinental title was. They put that value on that belt by how much, like, it became the workers' champion belt. So when you get to the time of D-Lo and X-Pac and all them fighting for the belt, that was off of Razor and Shawn Michaels' work of, this is the workhorse belt. If you're not going to take this belt serious, then this is not for you. They put the stamp on the Intercontinental. Remember, The Rock and Stone Cold are throwing it off of the bridge, but that's following of how much importance it was with Shawn Michaels and Razor that they had two, and they had to have that match to find out who was the real one. So I feel like the stamp he put on the Intercontinental belt, the stamp that he had with the run, just solo, the character for me, it's a hard choice, but it's Razor Ramon, man. Going Razor.
Raising the jersey to the rafters.
Raising the jersey.
Rest in peace to the legend.
Rest in
Scott
peace.
Hall, Razor Ramon. I was genuinely sad when I said he passed away.
I'm heartbroken, bro.
Yeah, because I did see him trying to climb up that hill to get it right. and that's all you can do is try. But man, rest in peace. Thanks for the memories, definitely. Yeah, man. So first jersey in the double up Raptors,
Putting
Razor Ramon.
Razor Ramon's jersey up there. Yeah, man. Rest in peace to the legend Scott Hall, man. Great memories. Seeing them definitely inspired my childhood. Happy that we can just serve y'all with just talking about his legacy and double up. But we need everybody that's in the comments to comment who y'all putting in the jersey. What character do y'all think is better? Do we got it wrong? Let us know why in the comments. Let's talk about it. Who do y'all got? What character was better, Scott Hall or Razor Ramon? Make sure y'all like, y'all share this, and comment. Let us know. This is an open conversation. Our verdict, I mean, on the Attitude Era podcast is final, but the comment section, you know what I mean? It's up for debate on who y'all got, man. So let us know.
Not to be funny, comments could come back. There could be a rematch down the road.
Yeah.
Hey, documentation beats conversation. So if somebody got a point or something to say, something we missed, we don't know it all. But that's what the comments for, and that's what you for. So you can let us know what's happening.
Yeah. So we here, man. Double up, episode 1, Scott Hall versus Razor Ramon.